The prisoner was dragged into the washroom after lights out, and by morning his blanket was gone. His face was swollen, and a folded paper marked with 3 German names had been slipped beneath the American office door, forcing the camp captain to unlock a sealed barracks room where captured soldiers had been holding their own secret court, passing sentences in whispers, and waiting to see what Patton would do when he learned the prison had built a prison inside itself. The first sign came during morning count, when a young German prisoner named Ernst Keller stepped from Barracks 6 with one eye bruised and his jacket buttoned wrong. The American sergeant stopped the count, pulled Ernst from the line, and ordered the interpreter forward before the prisoners around him could close ranks. Ernst said he had fallen from his bunk, but the sergeant saw dried blood on his collar and mud on his socks, even though no prisoner had been outside since evening lockup. The camp captain ordered Barracks 6 searched before breakfast, and the guards found Ernst's blanket hidden behind a coal bin near the washroom. Inside the blanket was a strip of paper with German writing, 3 prisoner numbers, and one word the interpreter translated as sentence. The captain locked the barracks doors, canceled the morning work detail for that block, and sent the other prisoners to the mess hall under extra guard. A second clue appeared when the clerk found a folded note beneath the office door, naming 3 men who had judged Ernst during the night for speaking too often with American guards. The captain did not rush into punishment because he needed proof that the prisoners had created a secret court rather than another barracks fight. He ordered Ernst moved to the infirmary, placed 2 guards at the door, and told the doctor to record every bruise before anyone could change the story. By noon, the camp had split into nervous groups, with some prisoners avoiding Barracks 6 and others watching the office as if the next order might reach all of them. The captain sealed the washroom, posted a guard outside the barracks room named in the note, and sent a report to headquarters that a hidden prisoner tribunal might be operating inside the wire. Are you enjoying this deep dive? Most people don't know this side of the war. If you're one of the few who values true history, subscribe now and help us grow this archive. The escalation began when military police arrived with lanterns, evidence bags, and a German-speaking intelligence officer who had handled prisoner intimidation cases before. They searched the sealed room first and found a bench turned toward 3 chairs, a stolen camp ledger, and a wooden crate used like a judge's table. Behind a loose wall plank, the intelligence officer uncovered folded scraps naming prisoners accused of theft, cooperation, weak loyalty, and friendly speech with Americans. The list included Ernst, 2 kitchen workers, 1 clerk, and a sick prisoner who had accepted extra medicine from the infirmary without asking his barracks leader. The captain ordered every prisoner on the list moved to a protected corner of the compound, which made the hidden court visible to the entire camp for the first time. The 3 accused ringleaders were pulled from their bunks separately, searched, and placed in an empty storage shed while the officers compared their handwriting with the notes. One ringleader tried to shout orders through the fence, but the guards moved the protected prisoners behind a supply truck and blocked the line of sight. The intelligence officer questioned the kitchen workers and learned that the secret court had collected bread, tobacco, and work coupons as fines for invented offenses. The camp clerk checked the ration records and found missing coupon numbers that matched the stolen ledger hidden in the room. By late afternoon, the investigation reached the work crews, where several prisoners admitted that men had been warned not to smile at guards, not to answer medical questions, and not to accept American jobs without permission. The captain sent another report upward because the case had grown beyond one beating and now showed a prisoner government using fear to control the camp. At dusk, word returned from headquarters that Patton's staff wanted all records preserved, all witnesses protected, and the commandant ready for inspection at first light. The major consequence came the next morning, when the camp captain posted an emergency order banning prisoner courts, secret sentences, private fines, and punishment committees inside every barracks. The order was read in English and German, then nailed to each notice board while guards stood near the doors and watched for anyone trying to tear it down. All barracks leaders were removed from their roles until they could be reviewed, and the camp replaced them with temporary spokesmen chosen under American supervision. The 3 ringleaders lost mail access, canteen privileges, and compound movement, then were marched to separate cells so they could not build one shared story. The protected prisoners were moved into a different barracks block with clean bedding, new work cards, and written permission to report threats directly to the infirmary. That decision created anger in the yard, because some prisoners called the witnesses traitors, while others stepped forward quietly and gave more names to the interpreter. The intelligence officer opened a witness table inside the recreation hut, and by noon the line outside it had grown long enough that the captain ordered a second clerk to record statements. One statement described a night hearing over a stolen potato, another named a prisoner fined for singing an American song, and another described a man forced to stand awake until dawn. The evidence filled 3 folders, and the captain marked each page with time, witness number, and barracks location so the case could not be dismissed as rumor. The major consequence became permanent when the work details were reorganized by American assignment instead of prisoner rank, breaking the old network that had fed men back to the secret court. By evening, the camp no longer moved through hidden German commands, because every roster, complaint, and work pass now passed through the American office. The captain placed the stolen ledger in a sealed envelope for Patton's inspection, knowing the next decision would decide whether the court ended quietly or became an example. Patton arrived before the noon count in a staff car that stopped near the office, and the yard changed at once as guards straightened and prisoners tried to read his face through the fence. The ringleaders expected a furious speech they could turn into proof of American brutality, but Patton asked first to see Ernst in the infirmary. He stood beside the cot, looked at the medical chart, the bruised face, and the torn sleeve, then ordered the doctor to keep Ernst under protection until the case was finished. Patton then walked to the sealed barracks room, where the bench, the 3 chairs, and the stolen ledger had been left exactly as the investigators found them. The reversal began when he did not order the room destroyed, because he told the captain to open it to selected German prisoners and make them see what had been done in their name. The protected witnesses, temporary spokesmen, and 2 older German officers were brought in under guard and shown the lists, fines, and sentence papers laid across the crate. One older German officer read the accusations aloud, then turned toward the ringleaders outside the window and said in German that no captured soldier had authority to run a prison inside a prison. Patton allowed the statement to stand, then ordered the interpreter to read his command that American custody, not prisoner rank, controlled discipline behind the wire. The ringleaders had prepared for American anger, but they were not prepared for German officers rejecting their court in front of the same men they had frightened. Patton then ordered a locked complaint box bolted beside the infirmary and assigned 2 neutral prisoners to witness its daily opening with an American clerk. By sunset, the reversal was complete because the hidden court had not been defeated by shouting, but by being exposed, recorded, and rejected in front of its own prisoners. Before leaving, Patton told the captain to transfer any man who used fear to replace lawful discipline, then placed the stolen ledger on the office desk like a signed order. The final irreversible event came that night, when a kitchen prisoner found a second list tucked inside a flour sack, naming the protected witnesses and marking 2 of them for correction. The discovery triggered an immediate lockdown, and military police searched the kitchen, coal shed, laundry room, and barracks corners while the witnesses were moved into the infirmary corridor. One guard found a sharpened spoon handle hidden under a stove brick, and another found a strip of blanket cord tied beneath a bunk in the ringleader's former barracks. The captain gathered the evidence in the office before dawn, matched the handwriting to one of the isolated ringleaders, and signed transfer orders without waiting for another hearing. At sunrise, a guarded truck backed to the inner gate, and the 3 ringleaders were brought out separately with their hands secured and their names removed from the regular camp roll. No prisoners were allowed near the gate, but the captain ordered the barracks windows left uncovered so everyone could see that the court's judges were leaving without ceremony. The truck took them to a stricter detention compound, where they would be separated, investigated, and kept away from the witnesses they had tried to mark. After the truck left, the captain called the temporary spokesman to the office and gave them a new written rule requiring all prisoner complaints to be signed, translated, and filed through American authority. The sealed barracks room was emptied by noon. The stolen bench returned to the workshop, and the wall plank hiding place was nailed shut in front of 2 witnesses. Ernst returned from the infirmary 2 days later, not to Barracks 6, but to a protected work crew where his name appeared on a roster no prisoner leader controlled. The final change came when the complaint box was opened for the first time and 5 folded notes fell out, proving the secret court had ended because frightened men finally had another door. Weeks later, Barracks 6 became ordinary again, but the room that had held the secret court was never used for meetings after dark. The complaint box stayed beside the infirmary, the witnesses kept their new work assignments, and the stolen ledger remained in a sealed file. When the captain made his last monthly report, he wrote that discipline had returned, then added one final line saying the camp had been most dangerous when the prisoners believed no one outside the barracks could hear them. Thank you for spending this time here. If these quiet, true World War II stories matter to you, subscribing helps this channel continue.